I thought we would do an update on Rachel Zegler and her new comments about Snow White, and inevitably what we can discern from this be Disney's marketing push. Because I said at the time, when, the proverbial S hit the fan for Rachel Zegler and Disney, I said, mark my words, they will change their marketing push. I bet you anything they'll change it. They're going to scrabble, they're going to change it, because they're not stupid. They pushed Rachel Zegler to say these things, and they'll push her to say other things. After trashing the animated original live-action Snow White, star Rachel Zegler now claims, "I love everything that Disney company has put out in the past 100 years." And I would say, ladies and gentlemen, that is our 180 turn. That is our about swift change of tactic. So I would say I was probably right, and I'm sure everyone else was right, because this is not like, a crazy out there thought that they were going to change tactic. You guys watching had exactly the same thought that I did. So, it's comical. Is it going to work, though? I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know whether it is too little too late. You tell me, is it too little too late for you? Because as much as, in this space we rag on Disney, I would love them to put out new stuff that's actually good. It would be great if they did that. It improves the market overall. But I don't know if they've actually learnt their lesson. I would say that this is all placating. So let's take a look. Hit subscribe if you're new here. If you enjoy this video, no pressure if not. But in a change of tune, ostensibly inspired by the absolutely massive backlash from even general audiences, because that's right, literally everyone was slam dunking on Rachel Zegler. Even feminists were slam dunking on Rachel Zegler. So you just disenfranchised everyone. After having trashed and dismissed Disney's animated original, live-action Snow White star Rachel Zegler has now taken to claiming that she actually loves everything the studio has released in the last century. Massive contradiction. So the divisive star of The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which, side note, has actually made money, which is crazy. I believe, anyway, from the last box office reports. Offered her updated take while speaking to fellow Disney actress Halle Bailey for Variety's Actors on Actors interview. I covered some of this when they were talking about the sort of backlash. They were like, "Oh, people are just having a bad day. I feel sorry for them." It's like, okay, could you be more condescending? So following a discussion regarding their experiences in dealing with the criticisms levelled towards their respective castings as race-swapped incarnations of classic Disney princesses, Bailey eventually moved to ask her colleague, "You're opening so many doors for your whole community as well. What has that felt like? Is it pressure?" What community? What community is Rachel Zegler part of? Are you segregating people based on their ethnicity? Is that what you're doing? Awfully racist of you. No one. It's not a community. If you're talking about actual communities, I'm sure Rachel lives in a gated community. She's not part of a community that's opening doors for anyone. So in turn, Zegler replied by admitting that while she did indeed feel some pressure in the role regarding fan expectations, her biggest critic was, in fact, herself. Utter hogswash. Due to her own apparent love for the House of Mouse's filmography, including the animated Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs film, which kick-started the company's run as a titan of animated entertainment all the way back in 1937. And she said this: "The cartoon is so beloved. It was the first feature-length cartoon movie. It won honorary Oscars, and all these amazing things that happened for that film are the reason that you and I get to sit here today. Because it made Disney what it is. Obviously, that's come with a lot of pressure that I've put on myself, much like The Hunger Games. There's a very dedicated group of people who love Disney cartoons. I'm one of them. I love everything that the Disney company has put out in the past 100 years, and I smell the bullshit." So how do you put little baby Rachel at ease with what you're doing in your career? She then explained of the questions, said expectations raised within her. How is it that you come to this role and make little Rachel proud? that was really what I used to fuel my emotion on that set, because all the pictures are out there of little me in my Snow White gown. I mean, you did come out and say that you'd only watched it once. So as noted above, this declaration from Zegler represents a significant shift in her rhetoric towards Disney's animated Snow White. It's a marketing ploy, like I've said would happen, and like you guys said would happen. But prior to this meeting, obviously, the actress pretty much hated the original, and that was what everyone was saying about all of the original stuff. So, interviewed by Extra following her casting as Snow White at the 2023 D23 event, Zegler proudly boasted the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on a love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird, so we didn't do that this time. And asked her if the film will still feature its signature prints, she said, "We have a very different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because, like, we cast the guy in the movie." That's right. Lesbian Snow White on the way, I guess. Andrew Burnap, great dude. It's one of those things that I think everyone's going to have their assumptions about what it's actually going to be. But it's really not about the love story at all. I mean, you've heard all this stuff anyway. But yeah, apparently the new one is an inner journey that Snow White goes on to find her true self, and she meets a lot of people along the way that make the journey really incredible. And then it's no longer 1937. It's going to have a modern edge. She's not going to be saved by the prince. She's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be. The leader her late father told her that she would be if she was fearless, brave and true. And so it's really just an incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to see themselves in. And there's honestly, there's been so much of this. This is what I mean, complete change of tact. When I was doing this film, like she said, she had only seen the original animated movie once as a child, right? And she said she was afraid of the film's contents. She's afraid of the ride as well. The reality is that the cartoon was made 85 years ago, and therefore it's extremely dated when it comes to the ideas of women being in roles of power and what a woman is fit for in the world. And so when you come to reimagining the actual role of Snow White, it became about the fairest of them all, meaning who is the most just and who can become a fantastic leader. And the reality is, Snow White has to learn a lot of lessons coming into her own power before she can come into the power of a kingdom. I mean, it's just garbage. But absolutely changed tunes. I mean, she's mental. She even made comments about Hawkeye. When there was some sort of comments about... I don't know. What was it about? What was the... She basically called for the removal of him because there was some accusations of substance and verbal abuse being put to him, apparently, because he was in a custody battle with his ex-wife, and she was like trying to push Disney to cancel him. Basically, can I be the new Hawkeye? Actually, I think the new Hawkeye should be a trans woman of color. I mean, that's literally the meme. To stick it to that racist, sexist, transphobic garbage monster. And deaf. Proper representation for the incredible deaf, hard of hearing community. A deaf trans woman of colour, yes. I mean, that's a literal meme right there. I mean, I make jokes about, just swap it out for a black trans lesbian. Now they're deaf as well, I guess. It's really up in the ante on the meme factor. God damn. Anyway, I knew that they would change tact here. We all knew this anyway. I love everything that Disney's put out. Yeah, sure you do. That's why you said the original was really dated. But will it work? That's the question. And have they learned? I mean, I would argue absolutely they have not learned, unequivocally so. I don't think that's a stretch to say. They've definitely not learned their lesson. And I don't think this movie is going to be particularly any good. But, God loves a trier, I guess. Anyway, leave your thoughts down below. Take care. Have a great Sunday. Bye now.